this is Sunny. This is our friend's dog. We get to watch him from time to time. He's approximately 6 years old and has been trained, but they're not the ones that trained him. In fact, they didn't even know Sunny until he was about 18 months old. That's because Sunny came from the animal shelter. Through our discussions, I've seen that a lot of you have pets or are planning to have a pet in your life. So today I'd like to talk to you about why you should adopt a pet from the local animal shelter as opposed to going to a local pet store or a breeder. I've researched through the local animal shelter here and through several books. Today I'm going to talk to you about the overpopulation with pets, what to look for your pet, as well as what to look at when you get to the animal shelter and the things to look for. By adopting a dog from the local animal shelter, you'll help keep the population in check. There's no shortage of dogs out there that need homes. In 2008, approximately 6 to 8 million dogs and cats had entered the shelter system according to the Humane Society. Approximately almost half of them had to be euthanized that year. Our local shelter here, the Cheyenne Animal Shelter, in 2010 got in 2,415 dogs that year from either owner relinquishment, stray relinquishment, or animal control. Of them, 2,100 of them were adopted, given back to their owners, or given to an adoption partnership. Unfortunately, that left 315 dogs that had to be euthanized that year. Now that you know that there's no shortage of dogs out there, you also need to look, there's a few things that you need to look for when you're getting a dog. One thing is knowing what type of dog you want. You have to make sure that you do your research of the dog that you want to get. One of the main things to look at is the temperament or behavior of the animal. It might be a little cute and cuddly, but it could also destroy your home and have certain behavior tendencies that doesn't match with your life. So make sure you do your research for that. Another thing too to keep in mind, it's okay to get a purebred dog because according to the Humane Society, approximately 25% of dogs that are in the animal shelters are purebred. You can also consider a mixed breed too. Make sure that you're also researching what breeds could be mixed with that dog, so that way you can get an overall view of what the temperament is, what size that dog is going to get, and also its exercise habits. Mixed breeds are usually pretty healthy, so you don't have to worry about that, but that's no excuse not to make sure that you take and schedule a visit with your veterinarian. When you're done, bringing your dog home. Now that you picked out your dog, you also want to weigh the advantages of having a dog from a shelter over a dog from a pet store. One of the things that you'll notice with dogs at the shelter is a lot of them are already house trained. We all have busy lives, and not all of us have time to take and train a little puppy or give it the constant attention that it needs. If you're worried about the dog loving you, a dog that you get from the shelter will eventually learn to love you just as much as a dog that you raised from a puppy. Now that you've picked out your dog and you know the advantage of doing it, you're ready to go to the shelter and pick out your dog. There are a few things you also have to consider too before you go to the shelter to get your dog. In the book, For the Life of Your Dog, there are a few things you want to check for. One thing is getting the dog's history if you can. You want to know if there's been any behavioral problems, or if how old the dog is, where it came from, and who was taking care of it. You also want to look at your dog to see how the temperament is of it. You want a dog that's just going to warm up to you when you come up to the fence, not one that's snarling at you and trying to bite you. Kind of a good sign to stay away. Also, try not to pick your dog out of pity. You know, if you look at all the dogs in there that have puppy dog eyes, you're going to have a house full of dogs. You just can't take care of them. You can't save them all. So make sure that you're picking the right one for you. Another thing is to consider from PetFinder.com. Again, check out your history. Also see if they did any behavioral analysis of the dog, how the dog is with children, and if there's been any health issues. Sometimes dogs have joint problems, or has the dog been sick, or anything that could be, you can wind up with a lot of doctor bills. So make sure that you know what you're getting into when you get the dog. With the Cheyenne Animal Shelter, you can also take the dog back to a room where it can get to know you and your family. The things you want to look for is just make sure that the dog's warming up to everybody and not just focusing on one person. Your family's adopting the dog, not just that one person. They're not going to be the ones raising it. Everybody should be raising it. So you want to look for that, and then also making sure that it behaves all right with every member of your family. Another thing that they'll do at the Cheyenne Animal Shelter is allow you to take your pet out to a fenced-in area. Once you take it out there, you can let it go in the fenced-in area, see if it wants to stay with you, or is it one of those free-range dogs, or is trying to be an escape artist and get away and doesn't really care that it's with you. That's a sure sign right there that you really don't want the dog, especially if you don't have a fenced-in yard. Now that you've taken all that into consideration, you're ready to take and bring home a new member of your family. Now, while I'm not asking you to go out today and adopt a dog, what I am asking you to do is to take in consideration going to your local animal shelter to see if they have a dog that's right for you before you get a dog from a local pet store. By taking in a dog from an animal shelter, you've given that dog a second chance at life. And you've also been rewarded with a new member of your family that will love you more than it loves itself. Thank you.